All right, hello everyone, this is Team 1. Before we get started, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to listen to our presentation about our penetration test on the Cozy Croissant Network. Brief introductions first. My name is Kate. I'm one of the team leads. My co-team lead is Declan, and I've got Samantha, Ferdinand, Elizabeth, and Dawn. And just a brief agenda of what we're talking about today. We have a summary of the engagement for you guys. We're going to talk about the key strengths that we found, along with our findings, recommendations for those findings, and the business impact. Then we'll wrap up with some time for questions.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So, as a summary of the engagement, we came here to perform a retest of the previous test we conducted in the Cozy Croissant. And as well as this retest, we were able to test some of the newly implemented systems as well. And this went very, very well. In conjunction with this, we were also able to perform physical penetration tests on some systems that you were planning on purchasing to help hopefully inform those decisions. As well as we were able to conduct a social engineering test to gauge your employees' abilities, to resist social engineering attacks. And following that up, we'll continue on to present our findings.
All right, so at this point in our presentation is kind of going to be going over all of the things that we know that you need to be aware about your system and kind of the more critical things that we found apart from that. And so one of the first things was that we were able to gain access to all of the customer data and all of the storage systems on your network. And I know that this may sound scary, but it's something that is actually extremely valuable for your corporation that we were able to find something like this. And it's actually one of the primary reasons that companies get penetration tests in the first place, is being able to find this before somebody that's not us is able to find it and potentially cause harm to your corporation. And so inside of these databases, we were able to find payment card information. That includes things like client credit card numbers, CCVs, the expiration date, and the zip codes. And all of this is very sensitive information that your clients trust your company to keep safe, and is why we wanted to bring that to your attention.
And in addition to the payment card information that we were able to access, we were also able to access some personally identifiable information, PII, on the hotel management system, the payment portal, and some of the databases that were included in the environment. We believe this to be a critical finding because of regulations that will come up later in the presentation, including GDPR. So we just wanted to let you know in advance. In addition to that, user credentials were accessed on databases like the My Rewards database and the domain controller, which is a system that is used to manage users and the enterprise network. And using those credentials, we were able to move from system to system, compromising around 100% of the servers and workstations in the environment.
So now we're going to get into our recommendations. Before we start off, something our team wanted to note was that the IT team did take into account some of our recommendations to start separating the public access from corporate systems. We thought that they did a really great job with that, and that was a great strength that we found with the IT team for your company. And to build up on that strength, we think it would be a great idea for them to continue to separate public access from corporate systems. That way you don't have users pretending to be admins or going places that they shouldn't. Another great tool that we would like to recommend to the IT team would be using password managers to generate strong passwords. So password managers would be great for not only storing multiple passwords so that they don't have to worry about remembering them themselves, but also generating large, strong passwords and then storing them separately for each user login. That way, in case a login is compromised, it won't compromise all of them, it'll only be one. So
The last thing we'd like to point out is that we want to make sure that the IT team keeps up with the updates and the things on your system like that. Not only is it important for general system health and device health, but it can protect from vulnerabilities, past, present, future, and protect from potential attacks that would be detrimental to your system.
As previously mentioned on the key findings, we did find accessible payment card information and personally identifiable information. This does have some business impacts in terms of regulations. The first is the payment card industry data security standard. It applies to any company that stores, transmits, processes credit card information, and non-compliance with it can result in fines ranging from $5,000 to $100,000 per month, depending on the severity. And then the General Data Protection Regulation is a European Union regulation, but it applies to any company that does business with European Union citizens. So if the Cozy Croissant does business with a European Union citizen, the GDPR does apply to them. And non-compliance can have fines ranging in between 10 million to 20 million euros, or 2 to 4% of TCC's previous year's revenues, depending on the severity of the non-compliance.
Alrighty, and then lastly, I would like to close out by saying that we really appreciate all the hard work that was put in by the Cozy Croissant's team to help with remediate some of the vulnerabilities we found before, as well as follow some of our recommendations. It made our job a lot harder to do, and we really appreciate seeing that. So at this time, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Question is, if we were to move to the cloud, do you believe that we could address our issues? Did you identify them?
Yeah, so the primary issues that we found here were a lot of it was kind of configuration issues, and so moving all of your software and services into the cloud could potentially mitigate or partially mitigate some. There are also some that we have recommendations in our report that specifically need to be like the code needs to be modified, or it doesn't matter where the code is put, it will still be vulnerable. Those sorts of things. So, yeah.
So moving things to the cloud, you must understand the concept of what's called shared responsibility, and that means that AWS, for instance, the cloud infrastructure, they're responsible for the security of the infrastructure itself and basically the platform to manage the systems on, but you are responsible for things like misconfigurations, configuration of the servers themselves. So the Cozy Croissant, we found a lot of weak configurations in the systems. So moving to cloud would not really help mitigate those issues. It would just transfer some of the risk to cloud providers.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. How would you prioritize the vulnerabilities to identify? What should we focus on first?
Right. So ultimately, well, I would assume that the Cozy Croissant Hotel's primary goal is to protect their client data and also to have continued uptime. And the primary things that I think you should prioritize in that is really securing those databases where client information is stored. And this is something that the IT team can configure. There's a lot of the critical findings in our report are thankfully also very easy fixes that that will not take a large amount of money or anything to fix. So yeah. Any more questions?
I'll ask one more. Based on your experience, how do we compare to other hotel chains, other hotels in the industry?
I would say when it comes to other hotels in the industry, it's kind of difficult to make a direct comparison like that, because some things that we did